We're here at Grove Studios on Acoustic Alternatives. I'm John Bomarito, Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, the home of the podcast for the last 2+ years. I'm grateful for them for letting me do it here, encouraging me to do a podcast, reminding me of how much I missed doing interviews with artists as they pass through town or some of my local favorites. And somebody I've been trying to track down for the podcast since the pandemic started, and he just wasn't ready. And I understand. Being in the same room with people, Stephen, we weren't ready for that.
Hey, it all came, it happened when it was supposed to.
It did. And eventually people stopped wearing masks when they came to visit me. If you go back and watch the first 10, we're wearing masks until the singing happens and then you go down.
Yeah.
But we got here. And
well, we didn't know, I mean, there was so much, there was a lot that we didn't know.
We did not. Now we're okay.
Yeah.
We're bound to get it at least once, and we're going to live, most of us. My association and love, I'm sorry to say that way. My association with your music started way back in 2005. This radio station that I wasn't even working there yet when I first heard Start the Day Early, and then I started working there. And your visits to that radio station became a regular, every time you were in town thing. And we just love your music, and I love chatting with you, and I feel like we've formed a pretty good friendship over the years.
Me too, man. So many good memories too. Yeah, I've loved it and appreciate the support.
No problem. That was a band album. You actually had a solo career 10 years before that you've returned to since those days, and I'm happy to see that you're out there continuing to do this. I know this is not the best way to make a living for anybody, and sometimes people might want to call it a day.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that though. It kind of is the best living if it's what you do. It's not the best living for everybody.
Yes.
And what I said the other day that we ended up writing down was I said this is a great living, but it's a hard job.
Yeah.
It's like,
there you go.
Yeah, but I know what you mean.
So it's been a while since I've seen you, but there's definitely a new album called Keep It Up, Kid, which is over here somewhere. I can't see it on my notes. There it is. It's in the camera view, I think. Would you like to do a song from that before we chat a little bit?
Sure.
What song?
Yeah. Let's do this one. It's called It Goes Fast. Seems like only yesterday you climbed up in that bus. Picture with a big OK and you're smiling back at us. Birthdays and recitals, driving you all over town. We were both so busy, trying not to let you down. But love's a one-way street, and you will always have my heart. I know you're in a rush, you were from the very start. So if I hold your hand too long or I embarrass you in class, no, I'm only hanging on, 'cause it goes fast. It goes fast. Cat was in a cradle and I work most every day, fumbling for the words, trying to know what I should say. When was I to push you? When was I to let you be? If we had each other's eyes, can you imagine what we'd see? But love's a one-way street, and I know that much is true. I sometimes got frustrated, saw so much of me and you. But all of your best moments and the worst ones too won't last. It's like smoke right through your hands. It goes fast. It goes fast. It goes fast. The day your car rolls out that driving, it doesn't park here anymore. That is the day that we were getting you ready for. was a one-way street, and you were made to drive away. I hope I'm there to see it when you have your own someday. The distance between then and now, it was shorter than we knew. And if you don't believe me, dear, one day you'll know it too. We're not the first to feel this way, and we will not be the last. There's something about that old cliche. It goes fast. It goes fast. It goes fast. It goes fast.
Such a beautiful song. Stephen Kellogg's my guest on Acoustic Alternatives. It Goes Fast can be found on Keep It Up Kid, his latest release. And I've never met your family. I feel like I know them, though, through your songs and the video there on that one. I mean,
the video was fun because we really thought of it very late. You know, we just like, oh, I guess we need a video, you know? And we called my friend Britt Nisco and said, we have all this old footage. And then we came up with this idea, what if, she said, would your daughter ever want to like do an interview? You know, so much of this is sort of about the growth of the kids and stuff. And so we agreed that she would do it, but I didn't see it. I wasn't there to see the interview, so I didn't see it till we saw a cut. And then what Britt did that I didn't expect is she cut it in the middle of the video. And it's really something. I will treasure that video always. Yeah.
it was moving.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. Well, my friend Mark Robert says, he's like, Kellogg, you've pretty much put everything except your kids' social security numbers into your music at this point. And he's not wrong. It was never my intent, but that's kind of where we ended up.
Well, we as fans appreciate it because we feel like we're connecting with you on a level that we don't connect with other artists.
Cool.
For sure.
Thank
and though I've known you for a long time, I don't know a lot about like young Stephen. Like, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Boston?
No, I grew up. I grew up in southern Connecticut, in a town called Bridgeport, a town called Fairfield, which was kind of two very different towns, but it's where my parents lived. So I spent time in both. And my parents split up when I was very young, and which I think is probably easier than having them split up later. And they stayed close together, which was great. But I don't know. I was my dad. I used to put me to sleep listening to Cat Stevens' "Tea for the Tillerman," and I think that and the combination of the divorce and just the natural disposition towards melancholia. I always had the blues. Like not depression, but the blues. And as an adult, it's much easier to make sense of. As a kid, you feel lonely a lot,
Were you an only kid?
No, but my siblings are very far apart in age. Closest one's 6.5 years, so we're all like, it's almost like being an only child,
I'm not that close with my older sister. I like her, but we're not that close. Yeah.
Yeah,
6
and
years.
I'm very close to them now, but that because I think part of it is because we were not stepping on each other's toes at all. We're having kids that are much closer in age. I can see there's huge benefits and plenty. It's hard. It's much harder for them not to get in each other's way than it was for my siblings and I.
Would I have met you and thought you were a dork or a cool kid?
Man, that's a great question. I love it, but I was really somewhere in between. And by the time I got to high school, in hindsight, people must have thought I was a cool kid. I was the class president.
Oh yeah.
And I was. I had a superlative my senior year, the prettiest girlfriend. Like, I was in the plays. Like, so here's the thing. I guess I was. I'm sure people looked and went, "Oh no, he's like," but it was wildly uncomfortable. Just other than my couple of friends, I just dreaded. Being a kid, it wasn't a good experience, and that wasn't anybody's fault. Like, my parents were trying, everybody's trying, and there I was fitting in but feeling sort of like dying inside. And then I got to college, and that was kind of the beginning of life, I feel like, you know.
You're adulting. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I love it. I love 46. That's how old I am now. I just love, it's like relief from, it's like I was born to be middle-aged, you know? And I'm much more comfortable now than I was then.
Other than meeting your wife at a very early age, and now you've got that future with her, did you know where your future was going then? Did you ever think you'd be touring the world and singing songs for people and visiting with me every couple of years?
I certainly, when I went to my first concert, and I mean, it's like the writing was on the wall, but I didn't really think it was a viable option, which is a thing that I feel like a lot of artists, especially if you grow up and everybody's with this profession is like, that's a tough living. What are what's your fallback? And so I didn't really think that it was possible until college, and being like, I can stain decks for $6 an hour, or I can play a gig, and make a couple of $100. It just was there was no, and then you start thinking, well, maybe I could do this, but I guess I was trying to aim at something a little more that involved more fame and fortune, and I'm relieved to not have the fame aspect. I could use a little more of the fortune aspect, but I definitely, on the tour I'm on right now, I keep going, wow, I guess we did it. Like we did what we were trying to do, more or less. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
People know who you are. People come to see you too. I mean, I try not to miss a Kellogg show if I can possibly help it. I've always enjoyed your live performances with the band or solo. You're an entertaining person to watch. You tell great stories. I love your songs. I mean, for me,
thanks, John.
It's a holiday.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like we're getting better with age, and so I really treasure the shows a lot. I think for the first decade, maybe even 15 years, I was mostly, you walk on stage with more fear, like like you're taking a test and you're trying to get it right, and then the show would be over in the relief. And now it's still exciting to play a show, but I just I'm like, neat. I have things I want to say and things I want to share, and you share them with whoever is in the room, and that's just a real gift in a way. It's easier to have an open heart now, I think, and that also seems to be tied to the middle-aged era.
Yeah.
So, yeah, advocate for middle aging,
if there is such a thing. Mm-hmm. Growing up, you were probably an 80s, 90s rock kid, right? So the bands that might have influenced it might be influenced you, but like made you want to play guitar.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was all that tea for the Tillerman. I mean, you know that record? That record is so sad, and I
don't know it as well as you do, but
okay.
I own it.
So I go to sleep to that. So you got that on the one hand, and then you go see. My sister takes me to see Whitesnake, and it's just exciting as all. So I would just draw the little pictures, and this T-shirt I'm wearing my own T-shirt today. We're a little low on laundry, and this was modeled after my first Whitesnake T-shirt. And it's funny because it's not really selling. And my manager said, she's like, I don't know if that's the demo, if they're going to appreciate a Whitesnake inspired T-shirt as much as you are. But I was like, I just want to do this because I can. So it was those things that made me want to play music. And then, of course, then you get bands like Counting Crows and stuff like that in the 90s that are doing literate but catchy. I mean, and that Toad the Wet Sprocket. These were bands that sort of gave me a window of possibility of like, I think maybe I could do that. And so then they had sort of an influence, and then the Grateful Dead had a big influence on me. I've played a totally different show every night of this tour. We're 20 shows in. I just love the idea that you paint a canvas every night that's only going to exist once. It's the only time it's going to happen. And when you play a set, I think you can perfect the music, and that's great. But you also, then you go, Chicago was good because they clapped louder, or I got a bigger laugh. Like, you're not gauging it on that internal experience in the same way. And believe me, I'm going to make so many mistakes tonight and every night. So there are attributes to doing it the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And but the reason I do it this way is what I'm talking about here.
I'm going to skip ahead to a question because it seems to fit here better. You have done, at least with the Sixers, you used to do a show where you'd cover a full album, Full Moon Fever, Purple Rain.
Yeah.
And obviously you're not doing that anymore, but it made me think about, like, if you could front an existing band, who would it be? Because I just thought, like, maybe John Mayer took the job you wanted, fronting the Dead. Maybe you would have loved that job.
The band that I would front is the Counting Crows. I would, they're the band I relate to the most in terms of the way that they play, the instrumentation. I don't think I've ever seen, I have a bunch of bands I love, but the thing that I love about Counting Crows, and I saw it up close last summer because we toured,
yes,
is that Adam is the ringleader of the circus of their band. And that's what I did in the Sixers. That's what I try to do in the bands that I bring out now. But they are so, they've learned to musically respond to lyrics. That's, and that to me is my favorite artistic thing to do with the band, is like, I'm going to sing something from my heart and I want you to reflect it musically back to me, and support it and know where we're going. And that's the journey. So, Adam has a long life ahead of him, but if they ever needed somebody to step in on something, that's the band I would want to go play with.
We'll circle around back to them because there is a question related to them in a bit. But how about another song?
Yeah. All right. Well, you and I have talked about mental health over the year.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm going to sing you this is my favorite one off the new record to do. And after I wrote it, people did call, they're called and were like, "Are you okay, man?" And I said, "I am okay, but I'm okay because I wrote this, and I'm okay." If you haven't felt some challenge in the last few years, you're not paying enough attention to the world, So I love singing this song.
Just no salutations by chance?
No, it's called "If Anyone Is Listening." I'm born and raised New England, is where I hope to die. Surrounded by a family that I've tried to do right by. And I am leaving them these songs in the best of my intentions. And a million complications that we never really mentioned. If anyone is listening, could you say a prayer for me? I'm asking for a miracle this time. 'Cause the truth is I'm barely getting by. In confidence I'll talk to you about all of my rejections. You led me to the wilderness, but you offered no protection. While you made yourself the victim, I pretended I was strong. We played our parts so faithfully and hoped no one would catch on. If anyone is listening, if you hear me whispering, I'm asking for a miracle, it's true. 'Cause the truth is I don't know what else to do. I've been looking for a break so many years. The day that I stop searching is the day I disappear. If you knew what I was thinking, you wouldn't think that I was nice. It's the secret's still a secret if you've kept it all your life. I still can't believe you left us. That'll never be okay. There is so much information in the things we do not say. And my heart broke when I was younger, and that ain't nobody's fault. Love is for the losing, if it's worth a damn at all. If anyone is listening, I wish I felt you here with me. I'm asking for a miracle right now, yeah. And if God is listening, I've been trying to believe. I'm asking for a miracle, I know. 'Cause the truth is I got nowhere else to go.
That is beautiful, sir. From Keep It Up Kid, Stephen Kellogg's here on Acoustic Alternatives. And the reason I mentioned the other song is because it has a lyric that kind of fits in with the same topic. It's
okay
to not be okay.
It's okay not to be okay now. Yeah, I was excited when we stumbled on that one.
Yeah, that stood out to me like, oh.
Yeah. I got to learn how to play that song. I haven't played it live yet. Shady's been asking for it. Shady's my tour manager. He's heard all the songs, so he's like, when do we get No Salutations? So, working on it.
I hope he doesn't get sued because Slim Shady, Eminem, is suing somebody for using Shady. I forget who it is now, but like, I don't know. He's like, do you own Shady? Or just, that's your character name.
It's a word, right?
It's a word, dude.
Yeah.
But anyway. So
what will people say when the sun casts across a tree?
Eminem.
Yeah.
So over your career, you've covered a lot of ground physically, but you've also covered a lot of things. Like you've done more than just sing and write songs and play for people. You've done a film, Last Man Standing. I don't know if that was ever part of your like grand plan when you started out as a songwriter, but
no, I did not expect to be part of that or books, all of this stuff. I just kind of
books. I was going to bring that up.
Yeah,
there's a book. If you don't know about the book, you look like way ahead and dream things, but there's a defense mechanism that a lot of us have, myself included, where you don't really say what you hope happens, because if you don't say it, then you can't fail at it. You know, it's like you keep one foot. You know, you just kind of you don't set yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah, so. For a long time, you kind of don't declare things or whatever, and so on the one hand, no, I didn't expect to do a lot of things that I did. On the other hand, it's always felt right when it was like happening, and now I'm so glad to. It's like, what's next? What are we going to do next?
You did a Tedx Talk that checked that box. Virtual tour. Lots of people were doing virtual tours, doing but you did a podcast too. I mean, you had Adam Duritz on, Laura McKenna on. I mean, that's another thing you did. The book is beautiful. I mean, I got to tell you, my favorite chapter is that first one when you're talking about love and marriage and just the way you write about your love for your wife in there. If anybody wants to know what perfect love looks like, read that first chapter or have you read it to them, because there is an audio version of it. It really got to me.
It makes me so happy, man. That's so great. Yeah. It was a very big learning curve writing a book and figuring out how to get the tone of voice onto the page, different muscles. But I do think I'll do more of that. I'm hoping to write another nonfiction, and then I have an idea for that. And then I am on the fourth draft of a novel that I'm co-authoring with Allison Hammer, and we're really closing in on it. So that's probably the next thing that'll hit, although that may be my only novel. I'm not sure I'll do that again, but hey, we're trying things out.
Well, just the way you write about your family and your songs, you're going to be well cared for as an older man, I think. I think you've shown them such love that there's no way they're ever going to be like, Dad was such a jerk. He's on the road all the time. No, he obviously loves you.
Hopefully, John. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. But I send a lot of postcards home. Everywhere I go, I send them postcards so that if they, don't feel loved, there'll be a lot of evidence to the contrary.
For sure. When you look back at the highlights of your life, where does your daughter singing on stage with you and the Counting Crows fit in?
Man,
somewhere.
It's up there. That is up there. It's way up there. Last summer, I got very sick right before all that went down with COVID, but also I had some stuff I had to do, and it was it was so hard. And it really cleared the decks for it's just, you get sick and you're scared, and it feels scary. And then to find yourself a month later, so we sang my song Almost Woke You Up every night with Counting Crows during Counting Crows set. We recorded it. We're going to release it this year. Adam just said we can go ahead and do that. So we have this live version that we're going to release, and that's exciting. And, I had my girls on one side and this band I've adored for 3 decades on the other side. And, for that night, it's as good as your life could ever be. I cannot imagine there are moments as fine, but none finer,
Your heart must have been really full.
It was. It was, and it was almost like staring right into the sun, but I would try to look at Adam's eyes directly and my girl's eyes, and I would hold the eye contact for a bit, but it was just, you were trying to perform. So you're like, I love to skirt that emotional thread. And sometimes I fall over the edge and I get too teary, and it can be charming, but it's also not where I want to end up. I like to be right on the edge of feeling all those emotions but still able to do it. And so I would look at them, and then I'd feel it, and then you look away back to the crowd and look, and just because that's how much it's like the expansion of the heart,
That was really cool. When I read about that, I'm like, oh, that must have been a great moment.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Because I've known you for a while, you seem like the kind of guy that if you've ever achieved the success of, say, a Springsteen level where you're playing that big, you've got that kind of power behind you, you would have used your powers for good. But I don't know what your chosen charity would have been. Like if you had been chosen to champion.
Yeah. Well, I've thought about that a lot, and I still, I'm not going to be Springsteen, but I'm still, there's enough ambition here where I have some years left in me that are going to be a little different than what I've been doing now. I'm working on kind of a one-man show that's a little more heavy on storytelling. Really love that. Whatever it ends up being, I tempt the universe to put enough, power and into my hands that I can do good, because I do have some stuff on my hit list. I'm a real sucker for things that are undeniable for all people, like, pediatric cancer and things like that. I love to get behind that, because it's like we can all agree that this, there are certain issues that don't split the thing. But I do have some other ones. I've been really touched by gun violence, has come shockingly close to my life on a number of occasions.
Sandy Hook, right?
Sandy Hook. My guitarist's parents were murdered at the point of a gun. So I have strong feelings about it. I also have a family full of hunters, and it is shocking and gross to me that we can't get a dialogue happening where we just go, hey, this is no good. We can do better than we're doing, and it's been shut down the way it has. I'm sure that I would wade into those waters, and I do a little bit, but that would be something I'd probably try to find some middle, because I feel like a walking test case for middle grounds, like it's just, you got to be able to speak as adults about these things.
You see both sides. So
yeah, for sure.
if you can't see
and
both
I'm grateful for those who sort of infuse it into the dialogue. I thought what Matthew McConaughey had put out a while back was wonderful. It was like, and of course he was met with tons of resistance, but he's just so, it's like, let's have a conversation. Let's come to the table with a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do this. We owe it to all these people who are affected by this stuff, so.
Stephen Kellogg is my guest on Acoustic Alternatives. We're at Grove Studios. Maybe sometime Stephen will be passing through town and say, I wish I had a place to practice with my band. Down the hall, Stephen, there's some big rooms that you can bring your band in and rent 24/7. It's very inexpensive keypad operation.
Cool.
And they've been very kind to me in letting me do the podcast here and encouraging me to continue doing what I was doing, like I said at the top of the broadcast. And I probably wouldn't have continued doing this without them. So it's a cool place. I'll show you around before you go. But new album is called Keep It Up, Kid. You have another song in you. I have a few more questions.
I sure do.
Kind of watching time here.
So I'm going to jump off the Keep It Up, Kid album.
Sure.
And go way back, because it's you and me here.
Yeah.
And part of our tradition is hitting songs that we don't always hit. And when I just came in and sat down, I thought of my old Uncle Andy, who was my step-uncle. And he was a real character. He went to jail for dealing drugs, and he went to jail. And at my stepmother and father thought it would be a great idea to put the two of us rooming together with bunk beds. So I'd find these big bags of weed, and it was crazy. But when I started to play music for a living, there was no one who was prouder of it all. Like he just. And he passed away young, which wasn't surprising and anything. But I have this song on the first album that you found, and I rarely play it. I thought it'd be fun to play it here on the podcast. It's called Blue Jean. I know you don't like when I say this. Was there in the letter you sent? I've been so long in the shadows. I've been wondering where the light went. I've been wondering where the light went in this home. Lately I've been feeling so alone. Let's go. Now he was 19, I called him Blue Jean. It was his parents' first accident. He had long hair, he drove like a nightmare, and I followed him everywhere he went. He played the guitar, watched all the big stars, moved away after 1 year of school, joined in the Marines, made it about 8 weeks. But to me, he was the epitome of cool. But I've been wondering where the light went in this home. Lately I've been feeling so alone. And when you're young, you can go either way. But for my part, I believed in you then. But it's been so long since we saw what you look like. These days I don't fight anyone. Oh, yeah, yeah. came on a Monday, hurt in the worst way. They said that he'd been busted up in Maine. Now he's doing 8 years. It's all of our worst fear. And this family here, it ain't ever been the same. Oh yeah, I've been wondering where the light went in this home. 'Cause you know lately, yeah, I've been feeling so alone, so alone, so alone. I've been so alone, yeah, so alone.
I don't think I've ever heard you do that live.
Yeah, no, it's a rarity. It's a rarity, but I was feeling it. You know, you just feel songs at a time. I've probably done that song half a dozen times. I don't know.
Stephen Kellogg, my guest on Acoustic Alternatives. Since we're in the Wayback Machine, I went and I was listening to some of the old interviews that were done at my station, not necessarily all by me, but some of them were like, I caught the one we did at Borders together. And I feel like I owe you an apology because there I was bringing up depression in front of the entire crowd, and you kind of made me feel like I felt like I made you uncomfortable. So I'm apologizing many years later for making you feel bad.
Not at all. No, you know, I'm a very direct person. If you say something to me and it doesn't land, I will be like, I'll mention it. But I also, it's a sign of love. You know, I wouldn't bother if I didn't love the people I was talking to. You know.
Rob Walker, my first boss, also mentioned in one of the interviews that you did with him that at that time we were the most supportive station in the country playing Start the Day Early. I was like, really? Our station was the one that really kind of made a difference, huh? Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's why you kept coming back to Ann Arbor, I guess.
Yeah, that's why we kept waking up so early to get to all these radios. You know, like we were, oh, God, we never slept those days.
Probably don't miss that much, do you?
I miss being played on the radio. I miss that, but I don't miss the lack of sleep, no.
I'm in a group of radio people, label people, and we have like a Song of the Week thing. We're supposed to send each other a song that we want people to know. And this week I sent to the ones who need it most.
Cool.
And no one in the group who loves you, several already loved your music, didn't know you had a new album out.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to get the word out there when we used to, the labels used to just pay people to tell people that the albums existed, you know, and without that, you really... other than actual fans, it's hard to get it around.
So you're not servicing this on the radio then? It's just kind of...
I don't know how to do it. I don't think my management knows how to do it.
Oh.
I don't think my agent knows how to do it. I don't think anybody on our team knows how to do it anymore.
I'll have to see if I can help.
Yeah, we should talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I want people to know, you know.
It's an excellent... It was in my top 15 of last year's releases for sure.
But. Yeah, cool. Well, yeah. Hopefully, though, that's good. Thanks for sending it. That's one way people could know.
Well, yeah. 2 people were already like, really? He's got a new record out? Like, yes, it's been out for a while. Technically, it came out last year because it was
I wish we had that song in our arsenal when we had the muscle. Would have been fun because it's a pretty fun song that when it hits your, you know, kind of blows your hair back when that needle drop happens. Yeah.
It actually, I'm not necessarily because I think I even saw you perform with them once, but it has a need to breathe quality to it. Like that love. That big part makes me feel
5,000 vocals to it. I mean, it's not actually 5,000 vocals, but it feels like it. It feels, you know, that's all Sam Getz and Jimmy Weaver who produced it. They knew how to get that feeling, and it feels right for the song. So it wasn't a trick or anything. It's just, they had a vision for it, and I get a kick out of it when I hear it.
So How to Say Goodbye is the next video. Mm-hmm. If you were servicing something to radio, which would you pick? Because I mean, you had a video already for.
Gosh, I don't even know. Someone would have to tell me what. I don't know. I would service whatever they'd be willing to play.
I think I just told you what it was.
For the ones who need it most.
I think that's a radio song. It really is. It's got it's a very uplifting song. It's positive. So I think people need to check.
That's what they always used to tell us. Give us tempo. And then the biggest song in the country would be some ballad. You're like, okay, whatever.
Okay, well, we'll wrap it up with one final question then. I don't want this to happen, but if your career were to end today, musically speaking, what song would you want to be remembered for?
It's either Satisfied Man
That would have been my guess.
or Thanksgiving.
Which I hear
One of those two.
which I hear actually gets a fair amount of airplay as well.
Yeah. Those would be the ones.
They're great songs. I will tell you how much I appreciate you making time for me today. I have many more questions, but I know you have a schedule to stick to today. So we'll get on to seeing you in concert tonight, this is not a live thing. So people hearing me say that are going to be jealous because I get to see you perform tonight and they don't.
There'll be others. No, it's been great chatting with you. As always, thank you for the thoughtful questions and the invitation to come in and sing some songs. I have enjoyed this immensely.
I hope it wasn't too pesky because I kept asking over and over the last 2 years. But
no, like I told you, I said no when I couldn't make
Yeah.
it. And then when I could, we made it. And I'm glad. It's perfect. This is a perfect time to come in.
Perfect. Keep It Up, Kids, the new album. If you don't know about the book, please check out the book. It's been out for a while, but it's out there. And explore the Stephen Kellogg catalog, please. Acoustic Alternatives from Grove Studios in Ypsilanti. Look them up as well if you're looking for a place. They're excellent hosts. And more podcasts coming soon.